All right, welcome to Chapter 1, which is basically just an overview of community practice, and I'm just going to give you a brief summary of some of the things that we're going to be talking about and covering in the chapter and our exercises. When we think about macro practice, that is basically the same thing as community organization or community practice. So you will hear those terms and you'll hear them used interchangeably. There's basically three components. We often talk about community organization development, social planning, and social action. And those are three different approaches to be able to bring about community change. One of the sayings that's in the book that I really like a lot is that communities are always the context, if not always the content, of social work practice. So there is no way to take what we do out of the community context. That's where our clients live, that's where we live, it's where we go to school, it's where we go to church, it's where we work. And so the community is always providing that environmental context that affects everything else we do in social work. Chapter 2 is going to talk a little bit about theories of community practice, and those of you that have already had some of the individual and families practice classes already know that there's a lot of theories that guide what we do. This is true in community practice as well. The theories help us understand how communities get organized, how they function and operate, and what are some of the most effective ways in order to intervene. Community practice goes way back in social work history. It's a part of our roots. That it's something from, those of you who remember Intro to Social Work, we had the Charity Organization Society and the Settlement House movements. Those were some of the community organizing efforts. NASW, our National Association of Social Work, and CSWE, the Council of Social Work Education, they both recognize the importance of community practice as well as individual practice. There are several current initiatives that we're going to be exploring. They're talked a little bit in your book and in the PowerPoint that I'm going to have. So we'll get an idea of what kinds of changes are coming back about currently that we need to be aware of. Chapter 1 also talks a little bit about the problem-solving strategy and the ways that we can look at problems. It's not very different than it is in direct practice. It's just applied in a community setting. We also have to think about values and ethics in community practice. Just as we don't try to violate any kind of ethical issues in working individually with clients, those same ethics apply to us when working with people in organizations and in the larger community. So we want to focus on our social work values and principles. We'll talk a little bit about that. All right, one of the challenges is how do we define the client in community practice? Is it the individual client? Is it the group of clients? Is it the community in which they live? So one of the challenges we sometimes face is figuring out who defines the problem and how do we respond in order to be most helpful to the greatest number of people. So, all right, that's just a quickie overview. We'll be moving on to Chapter 2, which talks about those theories.